everybody. Welcome to another installment of the FG Parenting Podcast, live from the FG Studios here in Greenville, South Carolina, a division of Warner Brothers International. We're actually in talks with Clint Eastwood to produce this next episode. Isn't that incredible?
That's amazing.
All of that was a lie. My name is Matt. I'm a dad. I got 4 wonderful kids from middle school down to elementary and preschooler.
Yeah, and I am Rob. I have 5 wonderful children. I have 3 in high school.
Not a contest, Rob.
No, I'm sorry. I win. I've already won.
Yeah.
I have 3 high schoolers, and then 1 in college, and 1 that's out and gone.
A lot of phases.
In college already?
Yes.
You guys need to catch up. You need some time.
We do.
Yeah.
And we have another voice with us today. We told you last time it wasn't just going to be dudes and dads. So this is Melissa Furness, everybody. She is actually, we're introducing her as the new worship ministry assistant. So large crowd applause noise.
Yes. Yeah.
And she is mom. Tell us about your wonderful
Yeah,
family.
I have 2 little boys, 4 and 2. No one's in school yet, but they don't need it because they're super smart. So.
They are geniuses.
They're super smart.
And you have a husband as well.
Genes.
I know
Yes,
him.
I do.
He's really cool.
Jasper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Jasper.
Hi, Jasper. I know you're
So
watching this.
we started last podcast by talking about the fact that parenting is both strenuous and glorious.
All at the same time. All
thought-
mixed in together.
We thought we would just continue with that and hear some of why is parenting strenuous recently for you guys. So Rob and I were talking earlier that this starting school back up is no joke.
This is a tough one, right? I mean, it's strenuous and glorious for lots of different reasons, but strenuous because for high schoolers, they kind of had their own schedule all summer long, right? And now they've got to switch gears. And we don't tell them to get up, but then of course they grumble. They don't really want to switch gears, and we're trying to help them figure out, like, if you need to get up early, which you do, you're going to have to go to bed early as well. So that's been a little.
Good life lesson.
Yes,
I'm
it's
still
tough.
learning that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So, but it's glorious as well because we see them stepping into it and being the people they need to be and growing and learning, and so that's all good. It's not always the perspective we have, but
For me,
good.
it's just the sheer amount of paperwork. Like to start the year and fill out all the papers that they ask you to, I feel like I'm getting a small house loan or something.
Yes. You make sure you always read everything before you sign
Oh,
it.
yeah. Well, and Owen, my middle schooler, sorry, not supposed to use names, my 6th grader,
Yes.
he's already doing math that I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I was a music major. I took 1 math in college. He was doing exponents the other day. Exponentials. I don't even know what they're called.
Right.
They're like numbers in parentheses times other numbers. And I just like,
Right.
I can't help you, bro. I have to watch a YouTube
yeah.
video to figure out how to help you with
Yeah.
this.
Now, if there are any students listening to this, you do use math in the real world. Just because Matt doesn't mean that.
Right, if
Other
you're an
people.
engineer.
Don't phone it in.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
learn how to balance your checkbook. Do your best in school, kids. What's
We're already
strenuous
learning so
about
much.
having 2 little ones, 4 and 2? What's something
You didn't have school. School didn't start.
No, but yeah, I just have them all the time. So that's
They're
fun in
always
its
there.
own way. They're always there, literally. My youngest, who's almost 2, really loves like eating dirt and ripping off diapers and stuff like that. So I could just like spend hours making him a delicious meal and he won't eat it. But he'll run outside and like pick up those egg rock things and
Just eat dirt.
he'll have like 4 in his mouth.
I remember those.
I'm like, first of
days.
all, I'm impressed. But
Yes,
second of
yes.
all, why?
Yes.
Why?
But we're not down on parenting at all. No. We think it's amazing and it's a high calling. That's why it's strenuous and glorious. Emphasis
Yes.
on the glorious. So this was a fun part of the Rexford week. The family decided to watch the movie A Dog's Purpose,
Oh, yeah.
which I was upstairs watching football, I'll admit. But there was a lot of weeping, I guess, in this movie. But the next day I just started some dad jokes. I don't love puns, but I started some jokes with the premise. Did you guys hear that they're making a sequel to the movie A Dog's Purpose? It's where the dog makes friends with a dolphin. It's called A Dog's Porpoise. So that's the premise. They're terrible. They groan. The first one they groaned. They were like, "Dad, you're so dumb." But then by the
they start-
17th one, they were like, "That's pretty fun. I might."
Yeah, they start jumping in. So
By the end, my 11-year-old made me so proud, and he said, "Did you hear the one about the dog who was very constipated? It's called A Dog's Poopless." See?
That's so much better than yours.
yeah, this is so glorious, right?
Oh, that's glory right there.
That was a lot of fun. So what's
Lord is
glorious
good.
about parenting lately?
Yeah, what's glorious for us is we see our kids making changes in their lives. They're growing up. They're taking responsibility, and sometimes they need a little push and things like that. But when you see them win, my daughter's in college, like she's starting to realize that she's geared for the thing that she's going after, and good things are happening for her in class. And it's like, man, that's awesome. It's such a amazing thing to see that the way we're parenting in the direction that we're taking them in is actually bearing fruit, right? It does happen, guys. It's going to happen.
I'm excited for that.
That's really
and
cool.
I have to compliment you on your family photography is always so inspiring. When you see the Furness family on Instagram, you're like, wow. They're just having the coolest day ever.
This must be right before they eat the dirt,
too.
right?
Yeah,
They take a picture of it.
So I think you do. You focus on the glorious part a lot and say there's great stuff in the middle of all this.
We do try to.
So what's been some really a recognition of that lately? Well, that's glorious.
One of the biggest ones of the past year is it's kind of been life changing. My oldest son, Jasper and I had just moved, and it was really stressful, and we are kind of transitioning jobs and things like that. So we were in the middle of a fight. I don't know if that ever happens in your marriage, but it was pretty intense one because it was like nighttime too, and don't fight at night. That's my one takeaway from this. And poor Cross was like there in the room, which we also promised we would never do. And then I kind of see him like bending down and like leaning his head down, and I thought in my head like, oh, I'm already ruining this parenting thing. I've broke him. He's gonna tell his therapist about this one day. But then he was coming to say goodnight to me, and he said, I prayed for you, Mama.
Oh, nice.
And I said, like, when you want to pray together now? He's like, no, I prayed for you.
Oh,
He was praying for us while we were fighting.
Sweet.
And it was pretty huge because we're not that good at being parents for us to like, hey, when this is happening, God.
He just picked it up,
he's
right?
4 years old. I think at the time he wasn't even fully potty trained yet. So sometimes you get these moments of like this whole parenting thing is so much bigger than you.
Oh,
and
totally.
The Lord loves your kids more than you ever could, and I love them like I would give my life for them, but he
That's
already
cool.
did. So
your 4-year-old
really
bringing you before the Lord.
I know, right? It was a life changer.
That'll shut down a husband-wife argument in a heartbeat.
In a
when
heartbeat.
your 3-year-old says,
He's kneeling.
I'm praying for you.
Yes. Laying on of hands.
Yeah, so good.
That's
So
great.
good.
Well, welcome. I call her Mel. I've known her for a long time.
call her
Welcome, Mel, to the staff. Great to have you. And we're going to take a quick break here. Today's podcast is brought to you by the letters U, Y, and P. Those stand for
Understanding your parenting.
That's right. We have a mini conference coming up on September 21st and 22nd. That's a Friday night, Saturday morning. I've seen the content. I saw it today on a whiteboard. Rob loves his whiteboards.
Needs to be bigger, but
He ran out of room, but he showed me a lot of the content, and I thought, that's really good. I'm encouraged by the 5-minute overview. It'll be really great to come. It costs nothing. It's absolutely
Zero.
free.
What?
And we're going to have snacks.
it costs nothing, but you
What?
gain everything.
You gain everything? That's a little
Every
drastic.
single thing you could think
You're
of.
going to gain something.
We are doing a special, if you register today, we're going to give a money-back guarantee.
Love
So-
it. All right. You can register on the website.
0 down.
We're going to take a quick break and be back with a very special guest. And we're back.
We are back.
Did you guys hear they're making a sequel to the movie A Dog's Purpose? It's where the dog plays with rare river animals. It's called A Dog's Platypus.
That one I would see.
Yes.
That one I would definitely see.
It's so good.
Get us tickets.
All right, we have a special guest here. This is Mrs. Sherry Marks. You spell that like Sherry. Let's get that right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she is the wife of Reverend Rob Marks.
Yes.
So we have a mom and a dad here,
Mom and a dad perspective.
parenting together. And so tell us something about yourself, and then you tell me one of your favorite things about her. Put you on the spot.
Okay.
Where do you go?
Oh, man, you put her on the spot. I'm going to rescue you.
You're first. There's homeschooling, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've homeschooled several of our children and graduated one, and
For how
continuing
long?
to do
you've
two
been
more
doing-
at home in high school.
You're brilliant. You're an amazing person.
You've
then.
done this for
That's a very
many
hard
years.
job.
Like,
I've done it for
over-
a lot of years.
over
yes,
a decade.
probably. Yes, over a decade.
Probably very smart too.
Oh, very smart.
Got to teach all the subjects.
Yes.
I can help with that math if you need it.
Thank you. Is it exponents or exponentials? What's it?
Probably some exponents.
Okay.
Yes.
Exponents, yes.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so one of the things that I love about her is
Yeah.
somehow, and there's many things first, but one of the things is somehow she can make meals out of absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Like, there's nothing in the house, and somehow I go and look and I can't find anything to eat, and somehow she makes a whole meal. So,
Cream of yesterday.
cream yes, and it's amazing. That's the other thing.
The leftover, a special gift.
Hey,
from
I'm
Mom.
feeding teenage boys. They'll eat about anything.
That's right.
What we want to talk about in part 2 of our podcast is mom and dad parenting off of the same page, like being together in that, because it seems that from an early age, somehow kids know that they can work the system. They can go to one
Yeah.
parent and get an answer and then go the other way.
Totally.
So you guys are a little more experienced at this. I'm going to let you talk about that for a while.
Well, here's the thing I found. If I talk, and I've talked to lots of parents, right? If I come to them and say, do your kids somehow know to go to mom for one thing and dad for another? And they all go, oh, totally. We experience
Definitely.
it all the time. Somehow, and I don't know, they intuitively do it. Your 4-year-old probably already knows he can go to one place for one thing, go to you for another. Or
they're not that smart at it yet. Like they'll ask me, Dad, can I have a cookie? And I say, no, you already had dessert. And then mom's literally sitting right there and they go, hey, Mom, can I have a cookie? And they should probably go
They'll
behind my
master it.
back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so they get better at it. I'm just going to
Yeah,
tell
I
you.
bet.
They do get better at it. And so here's this is something that we experience on a regular basis. Like this is all the time, right? We experience it all the time. And what I find is, for me, this is for me, and I think it sometimes can be the different parent, but dads sometimes start to feel like they're constantly having to, like, succumb to whatever mom wants. So it sounds like, well, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to go ask your mother. And I think, what good leadership is that as the dad, right? I feel like I'm always saying, all right, well, you'll have to go ask your
Feel
mom.
kind of weak.
Yeah.
Not leading. Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
moms,
but at the same time, for me, I feel like if they say, oh, ask mom, then I'm always the one who has to be the bad guy. I'm always answering the yes and no. And lots of times if it's no, it's always mom says no, dad would say yes. So
Right.
I always feel like I'd like the extra support.
yeah, I've tried different things. So I tried this, like, well, I don't care, but you'll need to go ask your mother. And that seemed like a
I
great
don't
idea,
care, it's
right?
never-
But
not
that's
good.
never, that's
No, it
never.
sounds like
didn't
you
work.
don't care, and we know
Right.
you care, so it's not a good word choice.
Yes.
Not effective.
So I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, how do you get on
Yeah.
the same page? That's what we're going to talk about. Is how do you get on the
I
same
think most
page?
people can empathize with that, whether they have preschoolers gaming the system for a cookie or probably teenagers get to be
Yes.
the masters of this. What's a specific example of, like, what would they go to dad for? And maybe what would they go to mom for? Like, what type of topic or
Yeah.
situation?
So particularly with my boys, anything that's going to be super dangerous, we want to jump off the house with our bicycles.
Go ask dad.
Yeah, because I'm
We'd
probably
like to
gonna,
head down to the coast and ride jet skis into Hurricane Florence, Dad.
Yeah, sure. I think that sounds like
All
a
right, be
great idea.
careful.
Yeah, be careful. Just let me know when you get there, right? And then what happens is they're out loading something up to do something, and mom goes, "What are you doing?" And their next answer is, "Well, Dad already said," and then here we go, right?
What about from mom?
Oh, I always get I don't feel good. I think I need to see the doctor. Anything that needs empathy, it's always to mom. Dad would say just rub some dirt on it and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. But if they need that extra little emotional plug, then they definitely come to mom. Or if they're having a relational issue, it's usually
Emotional day.
Yeah, an emotional day with my girls particularly.
Go
They,
figure.
they might come by for that one.
Go figure. So, yeah. So here's the deal. So, what's the solution to that? That's ultimately what it comes down to. So here's what I'm gonna say. This is what we have found to be true. It's what we have found to be true, and it's the more that we're on the same page, the better we work together.
Definitely.
I want to say it again because I think it's important. The more we're on the same page, the better we work together. And we have found this to be true. There are some days we're better at it, right? And back a long time ago, we started with a real simple box. It was like this intentionality grid that had like spiritual, relational, physical, and emotional, like, picture of who they are. And we would write it down in the box because what we wanted to do is to know who our kids were. And then we use that. I mean, we use that grid.
Each year we'd review it.
Yeah, and go through and just say, okay, what's the goals for this child? Because we both know them, because we've talked through it, right? It wasn't genius, but the point was we were on the same page, right? That's the big deal. So why talk about this in the parenting podcast? Well, I think the obvious thing that we're talking about is we feel like the reason why we created Understanding Your Parenting, the conference that's coming up, is because we're going to give parents an opportunity, mom and dad, to be on the same page. Because here's what we know. It's hard to find time. We're super busy. And if we do, like we're going to say, hey, we're going to go on a date night. And sometimes we'll say, we're going to go out to dinner or whatever. We're not going to talk about the kids. But
Inevitably, we wind up talking about the kids.
yeah, we end up talking about the kids. And then there's sometimes we go, no, let's go, and we're specifically going to talk about these things. But what ends up happening is we get caught on one issue that happened to be going on that day, and we spend the whole night on that, and we don't actually come away with a plan and a strategy.
Yeah. So do you have any practical, like, how do you stay on the same page and communicate well? Like,
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest thing is being able to carve out that time. So we do make intentional time in our week or maybe it's once a month or seasonally. It's been different as the years have gone on. Sometimes it's more frequent if that one particular child needs something, but it's really important for that communication because we, as we share, we learn where the other child is, which perspective we have, because we come at it from different angles, and that definitely creates
But here's the
problems.
thing. We never going to be able to communicate fast enough to keep up with their demands. Like, honestly, on a Sunday morning, we know we're going to get a bazillion asks about who can stay at somebody's house and who can come visit. And we just already, sometimes we'll ahead of the time go, okay, can we say yes to any of those things? Because we know we're going to get asked, right? So we're trying to get on the same page.
Think ahead of them if we
Yeah,
can.
try to think ahead of them, which is like almost impossible. But so how does Understanding Your Parenting fit into this? I feel like what we're going to try to do is carve out some time for mom and dad to come on the same page, but not just carve out time. We're going to we've already created tools for people to use to be able to really look strategically. Is it going to solve every problem?
probably not.
Probably not. If it did, we would be
cost
charging something for it, right? It wouldn't be free, right? But the truth is, we're going to give them the tools that we think are going to be helpful for them to at least walk out of there and go, man, I feel like we're on the same page. And when you feel like you're on the same page, I'm telling you, your parenting, you feel better about your parenting, you feel like you're moving in the right direction, and just the overall scheme of the whole family feels more positive. And that's what we've experienced. Do you guys, I mean, how do you guys work with that? Like being on the same page, and your kids are young, but they're getting to that age where they're going to start, asking different things, and how do you stay on the same page?
Yeah, definitely communication is one of the just hugest parts of this. And so you both observe different things about a child, and then coming together to go, what's your perspective? What's yours? And how are we going to come at this together? So you're not just having totally different strategies and confusing that
It's confusing
child.
for the child too. When they see the vision, they use that. So it's
Not in a malicious way, but they're human beings, right? They want what they want, and so they're going to use whatever little hole they can to come in and if I tell the boys, if they ask me something and they see me start to hesitate, they go, well, if I go ask mom and she says yes, will you say yes? Like, they already know how they need to get what they need and who they need to go to get it. And so, and then in that moment, I'm thinking, okay, should I say yes to that? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So
it's definitely a healthier family when we can all be on this. It's better for the kids. It's better for you and I's relationship. It really is just much more harmonious all the way around.
Yeah. So big topic, but the main point we're trying to tell you is this is not just a commercial for the conference, but this is a byproduct. Like if you come, you're probably going to come away more unified between mom and dad, and be able to have a strategy, intentionality to parent each child specifically and better. So
yes.
Any last words? Any last thoughts on the topic?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the part of parenting that takes work. But if you don't do this, if you don't get on the same page, yes, that time's going to keep going by. But in the end, you won't feel like you're winning. And so I feel like as mom, dad, you got to be on the same page. And it's one of the most important things you do. But you got to have a strategy to do that. You have to have a strategy. And so let's go through the details again. Right, Understanding Your Parenting is coming up
September 21 and 22. It's coming up real fast. Friday, night for a couple hours, Saturday morning for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes. And here's what I'm going to say. I know that people have lots of stuff going on. So if people they have something going on Friday night, they can't be there, I want them to still register and come because Saturday will be valuable. Or flip-flop, to be honest. If they can't make Saturday morning, but they can make Friday morning, register and come anyway. It's going to be
Cost is the same.
Cost is the same, and it's going to be worth their while. It is going to be worth their while. Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 simple steps they have to do this. Go online to our website, register for the event, and show up. It's that simple.
That is that simple. Thanks to our special guest today. I think we need a catchphrase for the end of this podcast. You know, like Focus on the Family, where they're like,
Yeah.
once again, we turn your heart towards home. Or something like that.
What do you got? You have anything for that?
The only thing I can think of is where once again we turn your heart toward parenting. But that's just ripping them straight off.
Yeah, but that's okay. I love it.
All right, well, thanks for listening to the FG Parenting Podcast, where once again we turn your heart toward parenting. See you next time.